We have Ming Wen, Apache API 6, PMC Chair as API 7.ai. He will be talking about the data compliance by using API gateway. Thanks, Ming Wen.
Hello, everyone. Thanks to the API Days Hong Kong. So I'm Ming. I'm very happy to be here to talk about the data compliance by use API gateways. So, okay, let's start. First, I will introduce myself. My name is Ming Wen, so you can call me Ming. I'm the PMC chair of Apache API 6, which is a cloud-native API gateway, and API 6 is also the top-level project of the Apache Software Foundation. I'm also the Apache Software Foundation member and the Kubernetes member. So I'm not only an engineer, I'm also a co-founder and CEO and API7.ai, which is a commercial company based on API 6. So first I will introduce Apache API 6. It's a cloud-native API gateway. API 6 has two parts. The first one is the data plan, and the second one is the control plan. In the data plan, you can just think API 6 is like Nginx. Actually, API 6 is based on Nginx, but API 6 API 6 can use LulaJIT, the WebAssembly, and many other major programming languages to help users to write the plugins in API 6. Yes, API 6 has nearly 100 plugins to help users to deal with the north-south traffic and the west-east traffic. So if you are using Nginx, so I think it's very easier for you to use API 6 because API 6 is based on Nginx, but it's dynamic and can help users to cluster management. And the second part is the control plan. The developers can use a RESTful API or the YAML configurations to control API 6 behavior. All of the configurations are stored in the etcd, and you can start a etcd cluster to keep the high reliability of API 6. And API 6 now have many users, not only in China, also around the world. We have many key accounts in different industries. For example, McDonald's, KFC, Tencent, China Mobile, or the Zoom, Vivo, Oppo. And we also have many fintech companies are using API 6. So what about API 7? API 7 is a commercial company based on API 6. It's an infrastructure company. We founded API 6 in 2019, and now we have more than 40 employees in 5 different countries. We donated API 6 to the ASF in 2019. Then API 6 became a top-level project, and we have some commercial products based on API 6. So API 7 is also founder of in the 2022 Gartner Market Guide for API Gateways. And API 7 is a ride-hailing top 100 winner. Okay, that's today's topic. Data compliance is very complex. If we want to talk about this, we need to realize what is data compliance, and in the API gateway side, what we are talking about this. So first we will talk about the data resiliency, and then is the data partitioning, and in the third part we will have an example and different solutions, and we will compare the solutions, and we will find out the best solution. And the last part is question and answers. Okay, first we will talk about the data resiliency. Yes, the data is very important for today's company. All of the data valuable from for example, the data is from our client, from our app, or in our company's different organizations. And data is also very important for the different countries. And data is also have the belong to the, for example, the data belong to one person, one country, and we also want to control of the data. Yes, so many countries have the legal requirements about the data. For example, the Australia have the legal requirements of data about the healthy records. And other countries maybe have the personal information, business information, and financial data requirements. So different countries have the different law requirements. For the company, we need to realize that the different country have the different data compliance. Here is the example for the United States. United States has the Patriot Act and the USA Cloud Act. So United States also has the Long Arm Act. It means that the United States not only ask the United States companies about the data compliance, it also can ask the foreign companies to follow their act. So it's totally different from other countries. So for the data partitioning, what is data partitioning? You can split the data into different database or in the different data center, because that you need to meet the legal requirements of the data compliance, the legal requirements. Yes. So in the technical side, we need to we maybe have several data center in different countries. We have a data center in China, one data center in United States, one data center in Europe, because we need to store the data in the country, and we cannot transfer the data from China to United States, and we also cannot transfer data, some personal data, financial data from the United States to China. It's about the legal requirements. So how to split the data into different partitioning? Yes, we have some different solutions. Maybe the simple way is robin, and maybe the hash or range or other partitioning algorithm. So here is the example. I think is a very simple example. Here is a user. Here's a user. And there is the two location architecture. For example, you need to decide the client's request need to query location X database and store the data to the location X database or the location Y database. And you can do this algorithm in different solutions. For example, we can, here is an algorithm in very simple code. If the country equals CN, then the location equal X. Else if location equal United States, then the location is Y. So we can decide this algorithm based on the country, the client, the user's country. So the first question is that where to put this algorithm. You maybe have in different solutions. The first one is in the client. I think it's a very simple solution. You can decide the routing algorithm in your client app, in your mobile phone's app, or in a framework. And you can do this on also in a layer 4 process. For example, the cloud vendor's load balancer, all in the API gateway. It's different solutions. So where to put the algorithms. So we not need to decide the algorithm at this time. So we can compare the different solutions first. So the first one is a client-side algorithm. You need to decide the algorithm, the routing algorithm in the client, your mobile phone. So you need a smart client. The client need to know the topology. For example, the client need to know how many data centers you have. Yes, and how many database behind the data center. So the client side need to know many informations. But if your architecture is very simple, you only have one or only have two data centers, you think you can write the algorithm in your client, but the client don't know the first request. For example, the first request from your mobile phone, he need to maybe you have two data centers, one is in China, another one is in United States. For example, the user is a United States user, but the first request forward to the data center in China, and the China data center will deny the request. So the second request, oh, okay, we need to forward to the United States data center. So we have another solution is a server-side algorithm. We don't need to write code in the client side. We can write code in the server side. Yes. But there will have other questions because you need to decide the algorithm in your server side, and there maybe have some performance cost when you're crossing the location. And you need to write some code in your service, and maybe you have 100 service or even 100 service. So I think it's more difficult to modify the algorithm in so many services. So it's also a challenge. So you also can use the API gateway to decide the routing algorithm. Yes, it's an earlier decision. The gateway already knows upstreams, and the API gateway also don't need to access the data. Looks like it's a perfect solution, but it's also have one issue is that the API gateway, maybe in location X, cannot access the server in location Y, because the location Y service maybe don't have the public IP in the internet. So, and it's also about it's also have the security issue, because the services in location Y, the service maybe don't have the limit rate and monetization and WAF, because all of these features are in the API gateway, not in the services. So if the a request from the location Y, the API gateway can directly access to the location Y services, maybe there have some security issues. So we will have another solution. We call that multi-layer API gateway. So back to our questions. A user from the maybe in the example, it's a user is in UK. Its location is in UK, but it's the user is American. His personal data and financial data need forward to the United States instead of UK. So, but the user is travel to UK. So the question is, first, we'll forward to the layer 1 API gateway. The layer 1 API gateway only have one feature, which is that decide the user's request need to forward to which country's data center. Yes. So the Americans API request first forward to the layer 1 API gateway in UK. And this API gateway will pass the API requests headers and decide to which country's data center. So then the request will forward to the layer 2 API gateway. Yes, there have some limit rate, WAF, observability, and some other plugins. So then forward to the actually services. So now we have at least have 3 or 4 different solutions: the client side solution, the server side solution, only one API gateway solution, and multi-layer API gateway solution. Yes, for different companies, they may have their own choice. Maybe the smart client is best choice for this, or maybe the API gateway is the best choice for this. But for many big companies or for some fintech companies of financial industry, they will choose the multi-layer API gateway because they have different data centers in different country, and they need to deal with many complete data compliance because different country have the different act to the data. Yes. So the second question is that where are the conditions of what are the conditions of the algorithm? Yes, we have layer 1 API gateways to decide the request forward to which data center, but the conditions, which conditions we can use. So you can use the client IP and the request headers, the request algorithms and parameters, and even you can pass the request body to write your own code to decide the algorithm. Yes, and you can also do some complete conditions. Here example. Yes, we use Apache API 6 plugin. The name is traffic split plugin. So you can see that there are some match conditions. We can use the name in the algorithm. We can also use user ID and API 6K in the HTTP headers to decide the algorithm. So, and also you can use the you can use Lua, WebAssembly, Java, or Golang to write your own code to decide the algorithm. Yes. So if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me in LinkedIn. And thanks to the API Days Hong Kong. Thanks for their wonderful work. Thank you.
Thanks, Ming Wen. Now we have Trace Walker, Senior Security Engineer at Susai. He will be talking about the SEAL effort.
The API Connect Hong Kong 2023 conference is powered by bNovelty Limited. Check out more API-related education content on bnovelty.com or apidays.hk for more information.